Hey, I'm Crystal, and thank you so much for joining me for Warrenist Live, where we celebrate the art, culture, lifestyle, and people of Warren County, North Carolina, and beyond. Before we get started, be sure to like, comment, share, all that good stuff so we can continue to tell the people about this wonderful community of Warren County. So, my guest today is Police Chief Keishawn Mayes. He was sworn in just a little over a year ago but has made incredible strides and has implemented several initiatives to further protect the Norlina community. So, thank you so much for joining me today, Police Chief Mays.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so just to make sure people can hear you just a little bit, okay? I want to make sure
Okay.
everybody hear all the wonderful things you're doing, okay?
All right.
All right. So let's start from the very beginning. You're from Warren County, North Carolina.
I am. I was born and raised here. All of my family is from here as well, and also my wife is actually from Warren County as well too.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so what's your fondest memory of being here in Warren County? Well, growing up in Warren County.
Um, well, the memory that sticks out the most is being a part of the 2005 high school team that went back to the state championship for the first time since 1982. Prior to that, David Henderson's was the only team who had went. So we did that in 2005. So that was a real highlight of my youth, my life in general, and was a real directional change. What led me to being able to play college basketball, and then after college basketball, being able to play a little bit of professional basketball overseas. And in 2011, I was in the NBA draft, and although I didn't get drafted, I worked out for some NBA teams and could have played in the NBA D League, but chose to go overseas. But that is definitely and always will be a highlight for myself, because not only did I represent myself and my family, but it also helped Warren County get a little more notoriety as well.
Right, that was awesome. So, well, many have aspirations to be a part of the NBA. You were actually there, touching it, to say.
Yep, I was right there, and also a lot of people who knows me and knows my family know that I also had a my brother Rodney, who is older than me, graduated in 2001 from Warren County. He also played in college and played a little professional basketball. So I had good people in front of me, good people around me, and just good community support.
Awesome, awesome. So what would you say is a life lesson you learned as a child that has helped propelled you to the man that you are today?
I think everything is a great parody of life. I think one of the things from being on a sports team, it teaches you all aspects of life because it's full of adversity. You win, you lose, you lead, you follow, and I think that's one of the most important things for me at this point with being the head of the police department. Not only do I feel like I'm a good leader, but I also listen and I also understand what the community needs. So although I am the leader of the police department, I'm also a follower of the citizens and the officers that's here working in the town to make everything work together and productive.
Awesome. So let's go back just a little bit. So what sparked your interest in law enforcement in the first place?
Well, most people have an interesting story, and they'll say, they have some great story of what led them to there. But for me, I really honestly got the interest to be in law enforcement from watching the police show Cops. Growing up as a kid, it just seemed exciting. It was always something different. And now later on in life, watching the TV show and actually doing it in real life, I understand that the TV show is nothing like real life. I find myself not only being a disseminator of the law, but also being a counselor, being somebody for people to talk to, being there to help people. I find myself doing more helping people than anything, and that's the probably about the most rewarding thing about law enforcement is because it's never the same day, it's never the same issue, and every day you have the opportunity to help everybody that you can.
Right. And that was going to be my very next question. It's like, what do you find rewarding about your job? Because we always think of the negative when it comes to police. So appreciate you answering that for me.
Well, even
So
with that, right now, I feel like we're the country, as everybody can see, is in trying times with the relations between police and community, and I think that is one of the things that the gap really has to be bridged on. And I think here in our community, we don't get as much as they do in bigger cities. So I don't feel like we face the same issues that we see on YouTube and that we see on Facebook in these videos. And a lot of it's really just truly utterly disturbing. Even people say the actions of the citizens, but also the actions of the officers are disturbing, and everybody has to be held accountable, not just the citizen but the officers as well, and people like myself that are in positions to manage and oversee departments have to make sure that if an officer does something that is not right, that they are managed properly as well.
and that's a great thing is that accountability. That's what's lacking in some police departments. So I appreciate you doing that. And while we were talking about well, while you're talking about the police department, how many work under you in Norlina?
Well, between full-time and part-time, we have a combination of 9.
Okay. And you told me you shared something with me that was very interesting about the salary, which
Mhm.
also now you're hiring, correct?
Yes, we have one position right now, and the starting salary is right at $44,000 a year.
Wow. But the fact that you shared with me was that that's the most that starting pays from here to, you said Garner?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. See, and I guess what you could say is that, when you pay your people well, they act accordingly, I guess we could say.
Yeah, and the thing is too is when you get into the situation where somebody has something to lose, they follow the directions a lot more. But the thing here in Norlina, what we've done with increasing the salaries, it did not increase the budget, and we actually increased the salaries by lowering the budgets. And the intention was to get the best quality officer, because many people question is how do we get officers who care about the community? How do we get officers who's going to do their job? Because prior to me taking the job in Norlina, the starting salary was $33,000 a year as a police officer. Now, as many people know, if you go and get a job somewhere else, that is a comparable salary that you can make without having to worry about somebody shooting at you or chasing behind people or anything like that. So you have to have something to lose in order to make somebody really walk that line. And I think that's one of the things that here in Norlina that I realize that I'm trying to do. But the citizens here in the town, they appreciate what we do for the community and the way that we're doing things now since I've been here. Because I'll take any phone call, I'll take any meeting. Anybody's welcome to get in contact with me at any time, and I'm always going to be there.
Right. And speaking of the citizens, while we were talking last week, and I was, taking photos and promoting this, um, you mentioned what I saw for myself. People respect you. You just riding by and everybody's waving, they're honking their horns, they're speaking to you. One gentleman he came up to you, joking, and stuff like that. So I think that's very commendable because normally you would think you fear the police, but you're approachable, and I know that's greatly appreciated.
Yeah, and that's one thing too with growing up here. Most of the younger citizens I know, whether if I went to school with them or they were younger than me, and then most of the older citizens have known me since I have been a kid. So it's an interesting dynamic, especially when you get somebody from your community in one of these positions, because you already know the people and you already know the area. So that's a plus for me.
Right. And so what I want to just go back just a little bit. You were sworn in. Oh, I'm sorry. You came in as you were filling in the interim police chief after Hughes was put on administrative leave, and then eventually he resigned. Um, what strengths did you bring to the job when you initially started?
I feel like the number one strength that I had was understanding my community, because I am my community because I'm a part of it. You know, I grew up here. I know everybody here. I think the strengths of being a leader and being a follower through playing sports, as I will always say, sports is always a parody of life through the ups and the downs and the lessons that you learn. And for me, I just understand what our community needs and the direction that it needs to go in. And that's what I'm trying to do here in Norlina because we've advanced in technology, we've advanced in salary, we've advanced in techniques, we've advanced in policy. We've done everything to upgrade. And at the same time, through that upgrade, we've done everything to utilize grant money and utilize less tax paying dollars.
Right. And so you touched on technology. Can you tell us more about the new developments that you're implementing in Norlina?
Well, right now we actually have a grant loan combination for about $200,000 where we'll be implementing a new camera system, which has facial recognition, vehicle recognition, license plate recognition. It's the highest form of technology that is not being utilized in this area. That bigger metropolitan areas that I know of, only Chicago and Cincinnati places are using it, but our citizens are just as important as citizens in big metropolitan areas. So we're going to utilize that in order to start with being able to see all of the businesses, see all of the main roads, all the main highways. The camera system's not to impose on anybody's privacy or anybody's personal property, in which we won't be putting any cameras in anybody's property, which has an expectation to privacy. So I do want everybody to know that, and the cameras are not being installed to target anyone or to catch anyone specifically, but it is we are using them instead of being reactive, we are going to be proactive in order to stop things from happening. And if things do happen, we'll be able to go back and see them, see what happened, identify cars, identify people. And a lot of times when people report things, they don't have the eyes or the vigilance that a police officer is trained to have. So you may have somebody to say, well, it was a blue guy with red pants and a green shirt. And with the technology and software, you can type that into the computer and it will literally search everybody with that description.
Wow. See, that's why I love technology, just the way that it works. And, it's, we look at it sometimes, like I said, in a negative way, but this is definitely a positive,
Yeah,
because if
definitely.
you feel like you're being watched, you're going to, act right. I feel like you would.
Yeah.
But,
But through the camera system, I think the best feature of the camera system, um, what a lot of people don't know, I guess they'll find out here first, is that the camera system will actually produce a band of Wi-Fi that will be free for all of the citizens of Norlina.
wow. So, okay. So the feature that you just revealed, exclusive, okay, is that the cameras will provide Wi-Fi in Norlina.
Yes, the cameras are a wireless based camera that does not use a memory bank. It has its own cloud in the network. So as far as the camera spread, the Wi-Fi network spreads as well. So it will create a band of Wi-Fi. It will create three different bands. We will have one band for the cameras. We will have one band for the police cars and the police equipment, and then we will have one band for the citizens to use in the town. And even when you're coming through the town and you don't live here, while you're in Norlina, you will have access to Wi-Fi.
Wow, that is amazing. That speechless. Okay, that's awesome because I mean that's something that we talk about. As far as like having broadband in rural communities. So with your system that you're bringing to Norlina is going to help fix that situation, that issue.
Yes, and especially now in the times where we're in the middle of the coronavirus crisis, where we had a lot of kids that had to do virtual learning and things at home, and myself being a parent, you know, there was a lot of concerns even with the citizens here in town, the ones who didn't have access to Wi-Fi, of how their children would be able to access school and be able to productively do that. So once we actually do get the cameras installed and everything's up and running with that Wi-Fi band, that won't be an issue for anybody that is in the town to have access to Wi-Fi.
Wow, I mean, that's going to help like students, it's going to help working professionals. I mean, that's amazing and greatly appreciated. I guess I will be coming to Norlina more often. Yeah. Okay, so we kind of touched on it earlier. Let's state the obvious. You are an African American male, okay, and it is pretty well documented that the police and the African American community we're not on the best of terms. So what I want to ask is, what are you doing? I guess in your way in Norlina to like heal that disconnect.
I think that is a good question. I think here in Norlina in our community, I don't think we feel the ripples of that disconnect as much as other places. I feel like the policies and things that we now have established, which are very different than what we've had in the past for the town of Norlina, is very much so helping bridge any type of gap in that area. Um, right now, if you talk to anybody, we don't have officers who's doing anything that's harassing or anything where people have actually filed complaints. But if there were, and if there is an instance like that, then my door is always open. But we will not. We have a zero tolerance policy for anybody having their rights um, violated, or even somebody who is acting as an officer with improper conduct. We're just not going to tolerate it.
Right. And I think when I think we feel that even when I go to Norlina, there used to be a tension. I can't quite put. I guess that's the best way to say it. There was like a tension, um, and but you don't feel that now, at least not to the same degree. So I definitely applaud you because hey, I mean, this is under your leadership. And also, we touched on this in our last conversation. We talked about prison reform.
Hmm.
So, can you share your thoughts about that?
Well, I think it's something that needs to be looked at more in depth. In our society is a society that is quick to judge, and through judging, punishments are disseminated. I feel like if you put somebody in prison, and that is the punishment for their crime, and then when they are released, if they have a hard time getting a job, that's kind of really unfair. It goes into the terms of fair and equal, and fair is not always equal. So if we're going to expect people to come back out in society and be a valiant part of society moving forward with positive productivity, if we're not going to allow you to be able to make a legal way for you to live and earn and make money, then we are becoming a part of the problem. So I think a lot of that needs to be looked into with double jeopardy, pretty much, because you can't be charged for the same crime. But if you commit a crime and you're convicted of it, every time you try to better yourself with getting a job or doing something different or going in a different direction, you are being charged again for that same crime.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that there are efforts being made, but I do appreciate your opinion as far as like what could be done or what could be changed. So I'm not gonna take up too much of your time because I know you got to get back to work, protecting the community of Norlina. So is there anything else you want to mention or share with not just Norlina, but Warren County, North Carolina, the world, everybody?
Well, I'm grateful and thankful for the opportunity of being one of the, if not the youngest, black police chief in North Carolina history. I think that's an accomplishment in itself. My thing is as you say, I care about Norlina, I care about Warrenton, I care about Warren County. This is my home. I have no plans on leaving or have no plans on not being here. And for the remainder of my career, remainder of everything that I do, I will always put every effort that I can, not only just to make this community better, but the entire community as I can. Anybody who ever needs anything or ever have any concerns or questions, I'm always going to be open. But as a part of the same way that I feel like the community of Norlina needs to grow and it needs to be growth, as well as myself. I'm going to continue to grow. I'm going to continue to do everything that I can to help the community, and whatever the community needs from me on whatever range or platform it is, I plan on taking on any challenge in that direction.
Right, and we greatly appreciate all that you're doing, Police Chief Mays. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you, just thank you, thank you, thank you. So thank you everyone for tuning in to Warrenist Live. If you have any other questions, how can we reach you?
I'm always open at the police department. We're located at 139 Highco Street in Norlina. You can always give us a buzz on the telephone. Any form of communication through Facebook. We're having a new website developed, so it'll be a lot easier to have questions and comments. But the general number for the police department is up. If you call it, somebody's going to answer, and if we don't, we'll definitely give you a call back.
Right. Excellent. And then also, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention the outside of where the Nolana Police Department will be. If you have not seen it, it is remarkable. Just the signage, everything. So drive past there today or whenever you get opportunity.
And that
And
one,
again, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. That one is actually 121 Highco Street, and I'm glad that you brought it up because we didn't touch on it. This is going to be the first time since I think 1989 that North Carolina Police Department is actually going to have a police building with our name on it, and an actual building that is ours. And the building that going to be moving into, has been in the works for the last 6 or 7 years, if I'm not mistaken. But here in the last year, we've been able to staple it down and get it done. And through all the work that you see there, all of the labor was volunteered by myself and officers and some people that I know that helped me. Officer Vega, Officer Macon Davis, they all pitched in volunteered hours, and we didn't get any extra compensation or anything. We just did it because we just want the community to have something that they can see and recognize as Norlina Police Department.
Awesome, awesome. I'm glad I brought that up before we
Yeah.
ended this. So that was good. All right. So thank you all so much. Thank you for joining me for the Warrenist Live. You can still like, follow the Warrenist on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're on YouTube as well. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thank you so much again, Chief Police Mays, and everyone have a great day. Bye bye.